If you want to learn the use of machine learning and computer vision in Android, then join the complete 2021 Android machine learning course. The course is available both on Udemy and Skillshare. Links are given in the description. Welcome to this lecture. As in the previous lectures, we have learned to choose images from gallery or capture them using camera. And then inside our Android application, we are getting that chosen or captured image in a bitmap format and we are displaying it inside our application. But our ultimate goal is to pass that image to our model and get the prediction from the model. So there you completed that portion. And now we are gonna learn to display the live camera footage inside our Android application. And in order to do it, we are gonna build a new Android application, and in that application we will display the live camera footage with the help of certain components. And after that we will learn to get the frames of that live camera footage as bitmaps so that we can pass those frames to our model and get the prediction from the model. So let's begin. So we will start by creating a new Android Studio project. So open your Android Studio and here click on this create new project. And here choose this empty activity, then click next. And here firstly specify your application name. So I will name it live feed demo. After that you need to choose the language to Kotlin and make sure that your minimum SDK version is 21. So I'm gonna select this Android 5. And after that click finish and this project will be created in a moment. So now our project is created and the Gradle is built. And now we're gonna look at the steps that we're gonna follow to build an application in which we will display the live camera footage and we will get the frames of that live camera footage as bitmaps. So in order to build this application, we will follow another Medium story. So in this lecture resources, you will find a file named resourceslivefeed.zip. So you need to download that file and unzip it. And inside it, we have these 5 files. But the last file is this link.txt and it contains the link of Medium story that we are gonna follow. So just copy it and then open your browser. And here we're gonna paste this link. And now you will see that Medium story is loaded. So inside this Medium story we have the steps that we are gonna use to build this application. So let's start by looking at the first step. And there you can see that the first step is adding the permission inside our Android application. And that is because we want to display the live camera footage inside our Android application. So we need to copy these lines and we need to paste them inside our Android manifest file. So just copy them and open your Android Studio. And here go inside this manifest and open this Android manifest.xml. And above this application tag just paste these lines. And here you can see that we are firstly asking for this camera permission. And then we are asking for certain features of camera, like we are asking for the camera itself and then the autofocus feature of camera. So after declaring this permission and these features, we need to add these permissions dynamically. And that is because if you are running this application on a mobile device which is running Android version greater than equal to Marshmallow, then you need to dynamically ask for these permissions. And here we have this section for it. So just copy all of this code and move back to your Android Studio and open your main activity.kotlin. And here inside this onCreate method, just place the code. And now we need to add certain imports. So just click on this build and press Alt plus enter. Then it will gonna add the import for build. And similarly, let's add the import for other things. So now we added the imports and here you can see that we are firstly checking if the SDK version is greater than equal to M or Marshmallow. Then we will check for the camera permission. And if that permission is denied or not granted, then we will ask for this permission here. Otherwise, we will write the code to display the live camera footage. And same is the case with this if block. So if the SDK version is less than M, then this else block will be executed and here we will write the code to display the live camera footage. But there is one step left. Suppose that the user is running this application on Android version greater than M and the camera permission is not granted. So in that case, this action will be executed and we will ask the user to give the camera permission. But once the user will give the permission, nothing will happen. But the correct flow will be that once the user will give the permission, the live camera footage will be displayed. And in order to do it, we need to place another method, and that is onRequestPermissionResult. And this method will be called once the user will give the permission. So just copy this method and move back to your Android Studio, and below this onCreate method just place the code. And here you can see that inside this method we are checking if the permission is granted. Then again we have this comment that to do show live camera footage. It means that we will show the live camera footage here once the user will give the permission. So now after adding the permission related code, we need to follow the next step, and that is you need to copy 3 code files to your Android Studio project. This camera connection fragment, this autofit texture view, and this image util. And I will explain the purpose of all of these classes later, but for now let's paste them inside our Android Studio project. So in the lecture resources you can see that we have these 3 files. So just select them and after that copy them and then paste them inside your Android Studio project. So here go inside this project and then the folder where our main activity is present, you need to place these files. So I'm gonna paste them here and these files are added. And now let's open them one by one and see whether they contain an error or not. So this autofit texture view is already opened here and there is no error inside this class. And similarly let's open this image util and that class is also okay. And after that let's open this camera connection fragment, and inside this class you can see that we have this error. So just click on it and there you can see that we need to add the import for this R. So just click on it and press Alt plus enter. And now the import for this R is added, but we have another error that this view with the ID texture is not present, and we will look at it later. And now let's move back to the top and there you can see that inside the imports we have another error. So here just remove this import because now our application package name is changed. And now inside these 3 files we need to make one change, and that is this package name. So now we need to paste our application package name here and remove this package. And in order to get our application package, just open this main activity and at the top we have this package name. So just copy this line and then open these files one by one. So firstly this autofit texture view, so just remove this first line and paste our package name. And similarly for this camera connection fragment, do the same. And then finally for this image util. And that's it. So now we pasted these 3 files inside our Android Studio project, and here this autofit texture view is the class or the view in which the live camera footage will be displayed. As in Android, when we want to display an image, we need an image view widget. And inside that image view widget, we display the image. And similarly, in order to display the live camera footage, we need a widget or a view. And that view is this autofit texture view. And we will add an object of type this autofit texture view inside our XML file later. As you know that in order to add the image view, we add it inside our XML file. And similarly, we will add this autofit texture view inside our XML file later. So that is the view in which the live camera footage will be displayed. And here this image util is a utility class which will gonna help us later to get the frames of live camera footage as bitmaps. So it contains some utility functions with the help of which we can convert the frames of live camera footage to bitmaps. And the third class is this camera connection fragment class. And this class is containing all the code related to Camera2 API, and with the help of this code we are displaying the live camera footage inside this autofit texture view. So it is actually a fragment in which we have the code to display the live camera footage. So now I briefly told the purpose of all these three classes, and it will gonna get much clearer once we will proceed. So move back to the story, and here we need to add one XML file inside our Android Studio project. So we need to create a new file with the name Camera2 and we need to place this code inside it. So just copy this code and open your Android Studio. And here inside this res layout, just right click on it and create a new layout file and name it camera fragment. So I'm gonna change the name to camera_fragment. And after that press enter, then go inside this code section and remove the code that is previously present. So I'm gonna remove it and now paste the code that we copied. And now here you can see that we have this error, and that is because we added this relative layout, and inside this relative layout we have this autofit texture view. As I have told you that this autofit texture view is a view in which we will display the live camera footage, so we added it inside our XML file. But here we need to specify the package name of our application. So when you will type this com.example, there you can see that we have this autofit texture view, so just click on it and now this error will be gone. So here you can see that we created this XML file, and inside this XML file we added this autofit texture view. And now this camera fragment.xml file is actually the layout file for this camera connection fragment. As you know that inside Android, apart from the activities, we have the fragments or mini activities. And each fragment has its own life cycle and the GUI associated with it. So for this camera connection fragment, we have this GUI, and inside this GUI we have this autofit texture view. So this camera connection fragment will gonna display the live camera footage inside this autofit texture view. And we need to display this fragment inside our main activity. And in order to display this fragment inside our main activity, we firstly need to add a container inside our main activity.xml. Because later we are gonna replace this container or frame layout with this camera connection fragment. So in order to show the fragment inside an activity, we need to add a frame layout inside the activity view. And later we will replace this frame layout with the view of fragment. So here inside the story, the next step is copying this frame layout code and pasting it inside our main activity. So here inside our main activity.xml, you need to go inside this code section and remove this text view. And then paste the frame layout code that we copied. And now go inside design, and there you can see that now inside this constraint layout we have this frame layout with the ID container. And now inside our main activity we will replace this container with this camera connection fragment. And once we will replace this container with this particular fragment, then it will gonna show the live camera footage inside our main activity. So now inside our main activity we will add the code. So you will find this code here inside our story. So there you can see that in order to show the live camera footage we need to copy this code. So just copy it, and after that I will explain its purpose. So just copy all of it and move back to your application, and below this own request permission result paste the code. And here we firstly need to add some imports, so let's add them. So now we added the imports, and here you can see that we pasted this set fragment here inside our main activity. And inside this set fragment we are creating an object of type this camera connection fragment, and then we are replacing this container with this camera connection fragment. So with the help of this camera fragment.begin transaction.replace method, we are replacing this container with this camera connection fragment. So once this line will be executed, this container inside our activity main will be replaced with this camera connection fragment, or with the layout of this camera connection fragment, which is this camera fragment. So inside our main activity, we will display this autofit texture view. So here you can see that we added this setFragment method here, and inside this method we are replacing the container with this camera connection fragment, and inside this method we have one error, and that is for one of the parameter of this camera connection fragment.new instance method. So we are passing 4 parameters here, and the first one is a camera connection callback, and this callback will be executed once this camera connection fragment will gonna display the live camera footage. So once we will get the live camera footage, this callback will be executed and this onPreviewSizeChooser method will be called, and inside this method we will get the width and the height of each frame of live camera footage. And after that we are computing a value named sensor orientation, and it will gonna help us later to rotate our frames before passing it to our model, and I will explain it later. So after passing this callback, the second parameter is showing an error, and we will move back to it later. So we are passing this r.layout.camerafragment.xml, and that is because that is the GUI or the XML file we want to associate with this camera connection fragment. And the fourth parameter is the size of live camera footage. So you can specify the size of live camera footage here, that you want to display it 640 into 480 or 1080 into 720 and so on. So there you will specify the size. And now we have this error for only the second parameter, and there you can see that the required type is onImageAvailableListener, but we are passing our activity context. And in order to remove this error, we need to implement an interface name onImageAvailableListener. And this interface will gonna help us to get the frames of live camera footage one by one. So inside our main activity, we need to implement that interface. So here add a comma and write onImageAvailableListener. ImageAvailableListener. So there you can see that we have this onImageAvailableListener, and once you will add it, there you will see an error, and that is because it contains a method. So press Alt plus Enter and click on this implement members. So there you can see that it contains this method onImageAvailable. So just click OK, and this method will be added, and this method will gonna call for each frame of live camera footage. So once we will display the live camera footage inside our application, for each frame of that live camera footage, this onImageAvailable method will be called. And inside this method we can get that particular frame and we can process it according to our needs. So in order to get that particular frame, we will use this reader method. So here remove this first line, and then with the help of this reader dot acquire latest image method, and it will gonna return us the latest frame of our live camera footage. So just add a question mark here or null safety parameter. So now you can see that with the help of this reader we can get each frame of live camera footage, but now we do not want to do any processing on that frame, so we will simply close it, and that is quite important. So once you will get the frame with the help of this reader, then you need to close it, otherwise the live camera footage will be stuck here. Because once this reader will be closed, then for the next frame this method will be called. So for each frame of live camera footage this method will be called, and we can get those frames and do different things. As in our case, we are gonna pass those frames to our machine learning model. So here you can see that the second error is also gone. And now we had an error inside our camera connection fragment. So open this camera connection fragment, and there you can see that that error is also gone. And that error was actually because of the view with ID texture. So here you can see that this error is resolved because we are associating this camera fragment.xml with this camera connection fragment, and inside it we have this autofit texture view with the ID texture. So now this error is gone. And now let's move back to the main activity, and here we will display the live camera footage by calling this method. So inside our own create method, where we are firstly checking for the permissions. So if the camera permission is already granted, then this else block will be executed, and here we will call this setFragment method, and it will gonna display the live camera footage. And similarly, if the SDK version is less than m, then these permissions are already granted due to manifest. So we will call this method again here. So call this setFragment method here again. And similarly, if the permission is not granted and user will give the permission once the application is launched, then this onRequestPermission result will be called. And here we will call the setFragment method, or the method to display the live camera footage. And that's it. Now the coding of this application is complete, and when you will run this application, you will see that the live camera footage will be displayed inside this application. But we will quickly review the process, that what is actually happening here. And after that, inside our manifest file, we added these permissions. Then we added those permissions here inside our main activity. And after that, we placed these three files, this AutoFit texture view, this camera connection fragment, and this image util inside our Android Studio project. And here this AutoFit texture view is a view in which this live camera footage will be displayed. And this camera connection fragment is a fragment, and inside this fragment we have the code to display the live camera footage with the help of Camera2 API. And we will display this camera connection fragment inside our main activity. And the third class is this imageutil.kt, and it is a utility class, and it will gonna help us later to convert the frames of live camera footage into bitmaps. So after pasting these files, we created this camera fragment.xml, and we added this AutoFit texture view inside this XML file. And after that, inside our main activity, we added a frame layout or a container. And that is because this camera connection fragment will be displayed inside this container. So inside our main activity, we wrote the code. So we pasted this method here, this setFragment, and inside this method, we are creating an object of type this camera connection fragment. And then we are replacing this container with this camera connection fragment here. And once this method will be called, the live camera footage will be displayed inside our main activity inside this container. And we are calling this method here inside our main activity once the permissions are granted. So now let's run this application inside a real device and test it. The application is installed inside my real device, and there you can see that we have the live camera footage being displayed inside this application. So congratulations, we have successfully built our live feed application using Camera2 API inside Android. If you want to learn the use of machine learning and computer vision in Android, then join the complete 2021 Android machine learning course. The course is available both on Udemy and Skillshare. Links are given in the description.